Ozzy's. And Ozzy's barking. All right. So we may or may not edit that out. So we wanted to put together a little extra stuff for everyone and have a kind of rinky-dink podcast to start off with and see how this works. Abby had the idea of doing a series on the TNT 10 Commandments, and we've kind of expanded on that a little bit, and I have 10 Commandments that we do at PostFit as well, so we're going to kind of put that out there for everyone to see, you know, how much we can, how much knowledge we can impart to you outside of just talking at you while you're lifting kettlebells or doing like stretchy things. So, speaking of kettlebells, so the first TNT commandment is exercise 4 to 6 times per week. I think that's one of those things that a lot of people kind of have a misconception on because they really think that exercise needs to be like high intensity. You know. What are you doing, Ozzy? Come here. Ozzy's going to join us too. Okay, so we're back. Hi. Okay, so I think a lot of people, this might not work. A lot of people think, well, out. So a lot of people think exercise needs to be like some crazy high intensity, like pass out puke or die thing 4 to 6 times a week, which isn't the case. Like one of your exercise days could be going on a hike. Like we're doing that this afternoon, we're going to Ledge Park. So I think that's something that, you know, as far as the, like what qualifies as exercise is something that's not what we're doing right now. Sitting in a chair. So
unless the exercise is kayaking or biking, you're still sitting, but you're moving while you're sitting.
And moving your abs, and also kayaking, working on your calluses to building up your hands a little bit. So I think that's important because a lot of us have like the step counters or like apps on our phone and stuff like that have the 10,000 steps a day thing. And the only issue with those is that 10,000 steps a day is like a minimum. So it's a lot of people strive to like, hey, hit my 10,000 steps for the day. And that's not really what you should be trying to go for as like an overall goal. That's like a minimum that you need to meet, which is kind of a little known thing. That's why they put that on there. I know Gary has his like little Apple Watch thing, and he's always like, oh, just close my exercise ring. And that's why they put the 30 minutes on there, is because you should be doing something that elevates your heart rate for a half hour, so you're not in a like sedentary state all the time. It helps burn a few extra calories and keeps you from turning into one of those walking question marks that you see people turning into when they get older.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Although we could have a TNT walker exercise program with like little tennis balls on there.
I think it's important, like when you're talking about exercising 4 to 6 times a week, scheduling it into your day.
Yeah.
Like making your workout a priority and finding a class that fits with your schedule that you can program into your day, and then do something that you enjoy.
Yeah. So like extra stuff like kayaking or rock climbing. We like hiking, so I don't know if you guys have other stuff, or like going out, if anyone has like just a bicycle to go out and ride your bike for like 20-30 minutes and just get lost somewhere around your neighborhood and discover something new, try out some new stuff and see if maybe you find like a new pastime that you might have thought before, well, you know, it's a little chilly outside, maybe when it snows out you could try like snowshoeing, right? That's really why we're here doing this, is because everyone wants to improve their lives and their well-being in some way. You have to test it a little bit sometimes too and see if you can find new hobbies and things. Ryan Toshner takes people rock climbing all the time. They just put the Brookfield TNT just took a group down to Adventure Rock the other day. They'd never been climbing before, and it was kind of cool. So stuff like that, and we could plan a field trip. Sorry.
And playing around too, you don't have to think exercise.
Right.
What are your daily tasks that you're doing?
That's true.
Mowing the lawn, get a push mower instead of the electric one.
If anyone wants to practice push mowing, I have the grass I posted. It always needs to be cut.
Landscaping needs to be redone every once in a while. Moving rock, that's a great workout.
Yes, it is.
Digging out and putting in new plants, great workout.
Getting new concrete poured.
I didn't have to do that. That's even when you're doing the laundry, you can hold the laundry basket here, you can hold the laundry basket here. Take 2 steps at a time instead of 1. You can play around with all of that. You don't have to think, I have to go to the gym in order to get a workout.
You could do military presses with your laundry basket too if you had the right one. Just throwing that out there. So that kind of leads really well into the the 10 commandments I have for post-fit. The first one is reading down to her. Get your mind right. Seems like this is a fun Sunday here. So part of that is this is a lot of mindset shift. So instead of, oh man, I have to go to the gym today, you get to go to the gym today. You don't have to do anything, right? Which is good and bad. But thinking about things I work with a couple that's in their 70s and they have kettlebells at home, they have Indian clubs at home, they have a weight bench at home and dumbbells at home, and every week, we should really do this at home more often. 2-3 times a week I hear from them, we should really do this at home more often. And I said, maybe set a goal, by the end of the month, he said, we used to do, when we were in really good shape, 10 years ago, we used to do 100 swings every day. We do sets of 50 swings. It was 15-pound kettlebell, but still, it's doing a set of 50 swings for someone in their 60s is good. So it's just that mindset of instead of walking past a piece of equipment, right now we have a goal, we'll start off with 10 swings in the first day, and then we keep adding up until we get to the end of the month. At the end of October, we'll do 100 swings in one day, like we used to, right? How many of us have had that? I used to be able to do this. Rick yesterday when we jumped out the back of the pickup truck, my dad's truck, he's like, this didn't used to hurt that much. When you were 12. But I think the mindset behind training is important and looking for opportunities and ways to make improvements versus just doing what you've always done, right? So the whole thing should be a mindset shift instead of instead of thinking can't, that should be a word you should take out of your vocabulary. Is oh man, I'm on this diet, I can't have alcohol. Well, now you're setting yourself up for failure, because if you can't, that's like when you were a kid and your parents told you couldn't have another cookie. What did you do when they weren't looking? You went and had another cookie and hoped they wouldn't notice the extra one, right? So that's the can't versus I'm not the kind of person that drinks heavily on weekends or has 2 or 3 beers every night or goes out to eat for lunch every day or whatever. I am the type of person that shows up to the gym 4 to 6 times per week, possibly, or 3 times a week, and exercises a few times a week at home. So it's kind of that mindset thing. The mind is your primary thing, and it's even in TNT. It's in the name: thinking, nutrition, and training. That's what TNT is. So that's the first thing is Derek Tosh and I were talking about this a few weeks ago. TNT was meant to be they started as a mindset gym. So you come in and you learn how to get an athletic mindset and the mindset of someone successful. So it's kind of where that's at. So I'll stop rambling thoughts. I can go on about that all day.
Yeah, your mind is extremely powerful. You see it in many other instances, individuals who are in the hospital in critical condition. Those people who have a positive mindset actually get better at a higher rate than those who have that negative mindset. So it's changing that can't to can, or not able to not able to yet. So it's switching that negative mindset to a positive mindset. And once that happens, once that becomes a habit, it becomes so much easier for you to reach those goals, actually set goals, make a plan to reach those goals. Getting the head in the right space is 90% of the battle.
I'm glad I'm not the only person that says that stuff. I'm sitting here smiling. Ear to ear.
Well, and I think the power of yet,
Yeah.
embracing the power of yet, and having that growth mindset that, you may be coming to the gym and feeling a little bit intimidated if you're somebody new, but knowing that all the trainers are here to help you learn, and approaching your training session as an opportunity for growth.
I agree. So we'll scoot on to the next one. We're just going to go like TNT post-fit as we go down the list, just so you guys can keep track of where we're at. We're jumping back to TNT now. Drinking half your body weight in water every day. I think I'm going to let Amy start with this one since it's more her area of expertise, because I'm just going to tell you, just do it.
And the actual more precise calculation is 60%,
Okay. I'm gonna
but
change
it's easier to say half your weight, because dividing by 2 is easier than going to 60.
it. But you just multiply it by
60%.
0.6. That's
Yeah.
what calculators are for.
I think calculators are for.
I see.
But
I
take-
learned something new today.
Take that 50% as a minimum base. And what really is the driving force behind it is that your body is about 70% water. So we need to have that water in order for your body to function at its most optimal level. And it's not just for digestive purposes, it's for metabolic purposes as well. If you remember back in your biology classes way back when, that you probably want to forget, all of those cycles that break down the food into usable portions needs water. So if you're dehydrated, those cycles are not working to their optimal level, and they're pulling water from other places, like your organs, that need water in order to function.
It's weird.
And if you can't get half your weight in ounces of water, focus on fruits and vegetables that are high in water. Like watermelon is really high in water. Cucumbers, really high in water. If plain water isn't your thing, add fruit to your water, like as an infusion. There's a lot of water bottles out there now that actually have little cages inside of them where you can add berries to, you can add cucumber to.
I like lemon personally.
Lemon's great.
Yeah.
Actually use fresh lemon.
Yeah, like I cut the slivers up.
Like
and put it
I
in
know there's a big thing right now that has been a big thing for a while, is adding essential oils to it. Do it. Oil and water don't mix. That's a whole other topic that I won't get into right now, that I'm very passionate about.
So
So
you don't want to tell us how you really feel about
no,
that? Okay,
not
just
in
making
this
sure.
not in this video. So add real food to your water. It's gonna be just enough of a flavor boost to make it appealing. Play around with temperature. Some people like it with ice, some people like it room temp, some people like it warm. So play around with that. Find a way that you actually enjoy consuming water again. Because if you hit that minimum of 50%, upwards, depending on what your activity level is, now that 50-60% is if you're just sitting around binging on Netflix. If you're doing anything more, you need to compensate for your movements, for your activities. So that 50-60% is just your base minimum.
And then just make it a habit for yourself. Like, find a water bottle that you enjoy drinking out of.
That's a
because
pretty
it's so
good
cute. And like, I make sure I refill this at work a couple times a day, and
That's a great one.
just like finding a way that you can keep track of it that's easy.
I have a friend who would actually put hair ties, they would put hair tie around their bottle. The number of hair ties that they had on there was the number of times they had to actually drink that entire bottle. So,
Interesting.
like, my little coffee mug is about 16 ounces. I would need at least 4 minimally hair ties in order to drink 4 of these. So every time that you would drink one, you pull the hair tie off. If you don't have hair ties, you can do rubber bands. Pull one off every time that you finish your bottle.
That's a good idea.
To give a visual of, did I get my water in today?
Well, like some people might have seen, like for me, half my body weight is a gallon of water.
Mhm.
And you see those things like drink a gallon of water a day challenge. And like, for me, I when I was working at my parents' shop, it was like soda, coffee, chocolate milk. Like, not even kidding, I was like, but I drank all day. I was like, that's not hydrated stuff at all. I mean, coffee kind of, but, you know, that when I first started really getting back into, like, I was still doing martial arts training, but I wasn't doing as much of it when I started being competitive. You get some really nasty cramps if you don't have enough water, which is weird, right? Like your muscles might need water to function. So I did the gallon thing, and you mark off each time on the side of the gallon. I'm not saying everyone needs to do this, but you could, you know, if you're, you know, around 200 pounds or so, you could then use that for a marker or have some type of system for, like, at this time I need to have had, like, you can set a timer on your phone and make sure you consumed enough bottles of water or cups or whatever you shaker bottle you want to take with you, or, you know, like those, like the plastic water bottles might not be good for the environment, but, you know, you can just go like,
And
I have
you can
like
reuse
X
them.
number, you can, yeah, you can. Recycling, right? Those do get reused, unlike some of the recyclable stuff that gets thrown out. But like the other thing too, you're talking about like cold, warm, ice, like I find at different times that I want different things as well. Like rehydrating when it, like with warm water or like room temperature water is going to be better for hydration. Versus like if you drink it cold, it's going to make you feel full faster, but your body might not, just like kind of cool it all off a little bit. And a lot of times, part of the reason this is important too is most people think that they're hungry when they're really thirsty. And I picked this up from a book a while ago, it was The Warrior Diet, and the guy's thing is like when you're eating even, like you should not drink water while you're eating or drink anything while you're eating. You should eat your food, and when you feel like you're more thirsty than hungry, drink 8 ounces of water, wait a few minutes, and then see if you're hungry again, because that, you know, maybe you're eating really, really salty food that you shouldn't be eating, or, you know, the other thing is you're a lot of times people overeat until they're full, and like Chad was in the other night, we were talking about this, we did a little nutrition workshop, and most people eat until they're like stuffed, which you shouldn't do. You should eat until, like, you know, that's one indicator, like I'm more thirsty than I'm hungry, but a lot of it's being in tune with your body. So that's another reason that it's good to kind of drink it throughout the day. And some people have had success with, like, at the end of the day, they started with like 10 ounces of water at the end of the day because they just have so much trouble drinking water throughout the day. So they start small, which is like a whole separate habit thing we can get into. But, you know, you might not be able to start with this right away, but you could find a spot where you can get it in, like wake up and drink, you know, 8-ounce glass of water or something where you can create those habits of, you know, filling that up a couple times at work, or putting hair bands around it, or marking off the marks in a 1 gallon jug of water. So those are some things that could be beneficial for people to do to help implement that habit. So the people that put these together, by the way, I mean, Ryan and Derek put these habits together when they started TNT, or these 10 commandments, and the post-it ones that I have, just to give you guys an idea, the place I got my 10 commandments from is the same place they took the idea of theirs from. These are things that they thought were really important, and they've helped a lot of people achieve their goals, you know, fitness and health goals over the years. So they put these things on there for their reasons, and they're really good commandments to follow for living a healthy, active lifestyle. Mine, as you're going to see, is a little bit more training based, because the second one for mine was training for an objective, which you need to drink plenty of water to do. So outcome based training is really important because you have to have some type of progression to your training. Otherwise, all the other stuff that we're talking about is kind of useless if you're just showing up. And I stole that one quote the other day from the guy. He did like a satire video about kind of making fun of CrossFit, and he was saying working out in CrossFit is the goal versus working out for a goal, or something like that. And he said it's the difference between, like, you know, comparing CrossFit to being really good at putting nails in the board versus just being able to build a house, right? So you might be really good at like a task or something like that, but you don't have an objective for your training. So there needs to be some semblance of like progression for that. And I think that's one thing that, like, when we had started doing like change your programming for your press, that really helped out. And Cassie got pretty far pretty fast on her press. She's pressing double 16-kilogram kettlebells now. Even though it was a little bit hard the other day for her, but she's still like, you know, she's in there doing doubles of something that like 6 months ago she couldn't do one of for more than a rep or two. So I think that's really important. I guess maybe like your experience on that would be a good like recant of the story for that.
Absolutely. There's definitely something to be said for having a specific program and training for something specific. When I was training for my SFG certification, having a program to follow to get my press to where it needed to be, I saw huge gains in a short amount of time just by having some focus instead of just doing class workouts every day. So sometimes having an objective, something that you're working towards, I really enjoy, I mean, even though it was pretty monotonous, I really enjoyed like waking up in the morning and knowing I was heading to the gym and I knew exactly what I was doing that day. So I think, you know, it's different for everybody, but following the program, having some sort of objective really helps to narrow your focus.
Well, think about it too. Everything else that you do
Mm-hmm.
has an objective. You get in the car because you have to go somewhere. You go to the grocery store and you have your list of food that you need to get. You go to work and you have your list of tasks that you have to complete that day. Everything, for the most part, that you do has an end objective. Think about when you don't have that end objective, does anything actually get accomplished?
Yeah.
Most of the time, no.
And you can, right? And that's the thing is like it's like I use the example of like a road trip. Like let's say we all decided we're going to go drive to California, and you know I'm using my instincts to get there, which is what a lot of people say that they do with CrossFit. They like intuitively train. Maybe I shouldn't pick on just CrossFit, but there's a lot of people that do that type of training. Where I just do what I think I need to do, and then there's the people that like are old school on a roadmap, and there's people with the GPS. Like the GPS is the best tool because especially if you do it on your phone, it has like warning construction ahead, or this road is closed, and the roadmap might have been updated in like 5 years, and this road doesn't exist anymore. And if I'm following the road signs, I might be able to get to California, but not specifically where I'm going in the state. So, I mean, it's kind of a long trip, right? So you want to make sure that you know, like, hey, where are the gas stations along the way? Because you might run out of fuel. Well, I'll just get it at the next exit, and the next exit's in like 40 miles, and you have a gallon of gas left. So the training for an objective really fits in well with that idea of like having a task to accomplish. Not saying that you need to constantly have something to accomplish, but you know, training for something every 6 months, I think, is a good objective for having objectives. Does that work? But I kind of, and a lot of the stuff, I mean, I borrow and steal from people, and Dan John is a phenomenal strength coach, and if any of you guys want to do extra learning on anything strength related on your own, I would get anything he's written. Just start with, maybe not Mass Made Simple, that's like a specific program, but any other book that he's written, you could get and get so much out of it. But he has the idea of park bench workouts and bus bench workouts. And like a park bench, you just kind of, you show up to the park and you're kind of sitting around, you're observing, and if the squirrels that were here yesterday don't show up today, no one's gonna call the squirrel police, right? So it's like, you're just kind of sitting there taking your time. That's kind of like, you know, doing class workouts and stuff. But a bus bench would be like people that are training for like a SFG certification or a tactical strength challenge, mud run, things along those lines, or like, you know, marathon. You can't just go out and run a marathon, right?
No.
You could show up and do the tactical strength challenge if you knew how to deadlift, do pull-ups, and snatch. And if you're relying on mostly class workouts, which Don has been programming the TSC stuff into classes, if you've been doing mostly the class workouts, you might be okay. Your deadlift might not be as good as it could be, but you know, you can do pretty good with everything else because we snatch and do pull-ups a lot. But you know, if you have a specific focus for that, you can focus the rest of your training around it. So like you might want to put a little more focus on your pull-up and snatching day if you're doing the TSC versus like you know, whatever cardio madness Don has been having us do on Thursdays. By the way, we're recording this on Don's birthday, so happy birthday, Don, which is probably why he's not here. Great. So So, but I think that's really important, especially like for me, as you saw how nice and smooth I just moved right there. I need to do more yoga, and my objective for doing yoga would be so my hip doesn't hurt anymore. Or get a snowblower so I don't slip shoveling snow next year could be my new objective. But you know, having objectives, whether it's like a small, it's like having small and big goals. We have to have those like park bench and bus bench seasons for those kinds of things. So moving on to the third TNT commandment, which is get 2 fruits daily. Everyone's heard of scurvy, yes. You don't want to get that. I'm also going to turn this over to Amy because she's better at these things than me. She does nutrition, so I'm going to let her just talk on that more because she'll have better things to say.
There's a couple of wonderful things about fruits. First of all, you have some wonderful sugars in there. Your body needs these sugars. Like the whole no sugar thing that's going on right now with the various diets, it's no added sugar. So no high fructose corn syrup, no Splenda, no stevia, all of that is added sugar. Naturally occurring sugars, especially in fruits and vegetables, are really good for you. Your body needs those sugars. Your brain runs 80% on all of the sugars that you consume. So all of the sugars you consume, 80% approximately, go to your brain. So this is good for brain health. If you're having moments where you're like have brain fog, you're brain farts, you probably aren't getting the proper amount of naturally occurring sugars in your diet. Another great thing about fruits is that they're really high in fiber. I used to work in a GI lab, and the saying was, if you're not pooping right, there's something wrong. Fruits are really good for good digestive health. Gut health has been linked to basically the health of everything else in your body. You have so many different body systems, and they work together as a team. It's not just your digestive system, just your cardiovascular, it's not just your nervous system. They work together as one beautiful team. The gut itself has been linked to the health of everything else. So a healthy gut is essential. And having those 2 fruits a day, approximately, is really good to maintaining a good gut health. So with those 2 fruits, that doesn't mean just 2 apples. Because there's good stuff in apples, apple a day keeps the doctor away. But there's pineapple, there's watermelon. I talked about watermelon with getting the water in. There's blueberries, lots of great antioxidants in blueberries. Play around with how many different kinds of fruits that you get in during the week. So it's not just the same fruit twice a day, it's 2 different kinds of
Fruits.
every day.
There's also an S on the end.
And fruits doesn't mean 2 single blueberries either. It's a serving of fruits. So
Did you write Eat the Rainbow on the board
I
the other
did
day?
eat the rainbow.
Okay, Skittles don't count.
No.
Also, because I know some people that are watching this are going to ask, the strawberry daiquiris or whatever peach mango margaritas don't count as fruit. There's not fruit in there.
Unless
These are
you
your
make
fruit
it at
pebbles.
home. Unless you make it at home, that's not from a pre-blended
Okay, well.
package. Then you're gonna end up using real
Bloody
fruit.
Marys don't count either. We're not in Fuego.
So think about what is in the produce section of your grocery store. If you're unfamiliar with the produce section of your grocery store, I highly encourage you to familiarize yourself with it because they're beautiful fruits.
That's why it's nice that they put that in front.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one good thing about the way they, I know they put like things that people get like eggs and milk at the back because they're gonna walk past everything else and
There's
buy more stuff.
refrigeration issues with that too, though.
Well, right, yeah, but there's, so that they keep all that stuff at the front, which is nice because it's like the first thing you see when you walk in there, even if you just kind of scan it and go, that looks interesting, I'm gonna try it. Like, for some reason, like, I had never had mangoes until I was like 28 or 29, I think. And I'm like, I'm gonna try this. Like, I had no idea how to cut it or anything. I went and Googled, like, how do you do this? That's like my favorite fruit now. Like, they're so hard to find and ripe. So, like, that's the other thing too, is like you have to play with, like, what's in season with that as well. So, like, we've been doing a lot of apples lately.
Mm-hmm.
So I've not been doing the variety. So So I have my two, and I did not have my apple this morning, so it's probably my brain